Good evening. Um, as you can remember, we have earlier discussed about the first part, expanding to the poetry section, up to poetry section, the procedure to face the to crack the interview. Now this is the second and the final part, which I will describe how to face the interview procedure, especially relating to short story, essay, and grammar and its usage, and also the drama section. Those who will be interested in mock interview, they can contact in the number provided in the screen or description link. In the description link, they can download the app with direct purchase. So there are two options for mock interview offline. Either you can contact directly with the number provided in the screen, or you can download the app directly in the description below. So as you can remember, we are in the final section of this interview procedure. In the drama section, you can find there are three dramas: She Stoops to Conquer, Arms and the Man, and The Justice. Now, as far as She Stoops to Conquer is concerned, there are some random questions which can be asked regarding Goldsmith's career, Goldsmith's drama's position as an anti-sentimental comedy. Now, there is a scope for confusion in anti-sentimental comedy and restoration comedy. Now, see, if we in this, in order to clarify the difference or the way restoration comedy culminated in sentimental, anti-sentimental comedy, you should go through your history of English literature book. Now, restoration drama, because of its explicit indecency and the allegations for vulgarity, it resulted in a kind of drama which is called sentimental drama, which was popularized by such figure as Colley Cibber or Goldsmith. Sentimental comedy was actually popularized by Colley Cibber, who wrote a view of the profaneness of the English stage, and addition also was there, and some minor figures was there. Now, sentimental drama actually transformed dramaturgy into a kind of pulpit, where the basic intention of the dramatist is to provide some kind of knowledge, some kind of wisdom, some kind of morality, as if you are going to some educational institution to get some knowledge. So this is the basic ideology behind the sentimental drama. Now, while giving so much emphasis on preaching, on the didactic purpose, the sentimental drama lost its basic aim. That is, what does comedy mean? To entertain in a comic way, to entertain in a funny way. Now, that basic aim of the sentimental comedy was almost dead. The sentimental comedy become, in the name of comedy, a kind of serious affair, where the fun element was, the entertainment element was completely missing. That is why in the first section, in the prelude section of She Stoops to Conquer, you will find a kind of an allegorical presentation where comedy, the goddess of comedy, is shown to be lying ill. Now, what does this mean? This means that Oliver Goldsmith wants to mean that the comic spirit has long been dead, and the doctor has come. And you should keep in mind that Oliver Goldsmith was himself a doctor by profession. Another profession, he is doctor. Please keep in mind this point. So he has come with his presentation of a syrup which is to be taken by the goddess of comedy in 3 portions. 3 portions means it is a 3-act drama. Now, goddess of comedy, a question may come in your exam that who is the goddess of comedy, though direct reference has not been done to who this goddess of comedy is intended to be. But if we go to the muse, the name of the muses, the goddess of comedy is Thalia. So perhaps Oliver Goldsmith wants to mean that Thalia is ill, the comic spirit as embodied by Thalia, she is ill, she has been long ill, and the doctor Oliver Goldsmith has come with his preparation of a mixture which is to be taken 3 times, that is a 3-act drama, She Stoops to Conquer. Now, restoration comedy is revived in this kind of anti-sentimental drama because She Stoops to Conquer is a kind of revolt against the prevailing sentimental comedy. So it is called anti-sentimental drama. So what is the difference? The difference is that anti-sentimental comedy is a kind of revival of restoration comedy. But there is subtle difference. The difference is that in the place of explicit indecency, vulgarity, or the kind of relationships which has been projected earlier, which is not acceptable for all in the kind of society London was in, She Stoops to Conquer or anti-sentimental comedy projected a kind of drama where the comic spirit is revived, that kind of fun, humor, wit, all those elements, that kind of plot construction, all these kinds of elements was there, but the indecency, explicit indecency, vulgarity, all licentiousness, these were absent. So for She Stoops to Conquer, these things you have to keep in mind. Number 1, the difference between sentimental comedy and anti-sentimental comedy, the difference between anti-sentimental comedy and restoration comedy, the name of the goddess of comedy, the name of the goddess of comedy or the muse of comedy, why Goldsmith called himself a doctor, that is a reference to Goldsmith's personal life also you have to inquire. And also the names, every name in restoration comedy, which is a kind of urban affair, that is why it is called comedy of manners. So that is also a scope for questioning that why restoration comedy is called the comedy of manners. So restoration comedy or comedy of manners, there is an interesting thing is that every name has some meaning. For example, Mr. Hardcastle. Mr. Hardcastle means that his mind is as hard against all kind of modern fashion, London oriented urban fashion, everything as hard as castle. That is why Mr. Hardcastle. So Tony Lumpkin, Lydia Languis. Languis means the name implies that Lydia Languis is a woman who is always languishing, who is very sentimental, and she has been projected as a girl who is obsessed with sentimental novel and who enjoys in weeping. So every character, in some way or other, their name represent the their name represent their characteristic feature. So you have to be careful in this matter, and various questions may come. Other questions referring to the plot construction, the subplot, etc. In this case, you also have to be conscious regarding Aristotle's idea of comedy. Though Aristotle has very little things to say regarding comedy, but he said something, and Aristotle's idea of comedy you have to keep in mind. Yeah, and who is the founder, who is regarded to be the founder of English the word comedy, who first introduced comedy in ancient Greece. We are all habituated with the name, we are all familiar with the name Aeschylus, Sophocles and Euripides, but there is also a father figure in ancient Greece who wrote the Frogs, and you have to be prepared with that reference also, who wrote the Frogs or who is regarded as the father figure, the pioneer of comedy. Now, as far as the Arms and the Man is concerned, Bernard Shaw, first you have to go back to your history of English literature book, or a very good book I can suggest, British Drama, written by A.C. Nichol, available in any library. You can go through it, you should go through it. Either David Deitches or A.C. Nichol, where you can find Bernard Shaw's ideology, why he is called a Fabian. Is Fabian a socialist, or what is the difference between Fabianism and Marxism? That is an important point which you may be asked. Another thing is that the inspiration which Bernard Shaw got from Ibsen. Now, question may come about Ibsen's idea of realism, and how Bernard Shaw was inspired by Ibsenian realism. So, Ibsen also you should read about, because Ibsen's drama, one or two drama, you should at least understand the basic theme. Now, Bernard Shaw's drama, you know, they are marked as anti-romantic. Now, what does anti-romantic mean? That is also an important question. And quite interestingly, a question may come about the Bernard Shaw's life, the autobiographical element. Why Bernard Shaw personally himself has become so much anti-romantic in life. If you go through Bernard Shaw's life, you will find that there are actually in Bernard Shaw's life, there are so many things happened. The divorce in his childhood between his father and mother, the way Bernard Shaw's mother is more devoted to her own career as singer, the way Bernard Shaw felt neglected, the way he struggled in life, everything left and impressive mark on Bernard Shaw's career as a dramatist. And that is why Bernard Shaw himself was disillusioned about Romanticism. Bernard Shaw, regarding Arms and the Man, he earlier visited Paris, and he wrote that I am not against so much, I am not so much against love, but I am dead against the love of love. That is, I think, the way it sums up the attitude of Bernard Shaw towards love. For him, it is neither romantic nor it is something ethereal. Love is based on physical attraction, which is exemplified in Sergius's surrender to Raina and Luca's surrender to his chocolate cream soldier. But Arms and the Man ends in a paradox. That is, it is not so much an anti-romantic drama. At the end, the way his anti-romantic weapon bluntly behaves, he himself becomes the pioneer of Romanticism. Now, generally question comes that why Bernard Shaw, who is a professed warrior, crusader against Romanticism, suddenly turned his chief weapon into a romantic chocolate cream soldier at the end. Because Bernard Shaw realized that even in this war against Romanticism, a person cannot be totally free from romance. Romance, even when a person is anti-romantic, romance remains like an underneath river, undersurface river. So, if romance is robbed off from a person, he will not be a real person. So, that kind of paradox is there. So, you may ask, you may be asked questions about this thing. Please also read carefully about Raina's role. Raina, Nicola, their role. Why Nicola is called the ablest man in Bulgaria. These things, the role of Raina and Luca are generally overlooked. But questions may come, questions may be asked from these kind of things, Raina, Luca. And another thing you have to be kept in mind, that in which drama Bernard Shaw attacks which social evil. For example, there is a drama called Mrs. Warren's Profession by Bernard Shaw. Now, in Mrs. Warren's Profession, Bernard Shaw calls that marriage is a kind of legalized prostitution. So, he is against the social marriage. So, these kind of things is there. So, every drama, Major Barbara, it's a controversial play. So, every drama in the Ibsenian framework aims at certain social evil, and every drama robs our romantic vision. So, you have to go through Bernard Shaw's themes in other dramas which may be well asked. Goldsworthy's Justice, I think you have read all, and in my personal opinion, it is generally not much asked, because there is nothing to ask. In simple way, there is, the controversy now is going on regarding in this country regarding judiciary system. So, in my personal opinion, you may have a glance at the trial scene before appearing in the exam board. As far as the short story section is concerned, there are ample scopes for short question. The narrative technique in the Lagoon and the Lotus Eater. From Conrad's total full name, an interesting thing you all know. Conrad's mother tongue. Conrad is not English, he is not an English person. So from which country Joseph Conrad came and which was his mother tongue and how he learned to write and speak English. So I think Conrad's personal life may be a point to be noted for your interview preparation. The Lotus Eater, the character Wilson, is he a tragic character? Your opinion. It is also an important thing to be asked. How would you behave if you are given the option to be a Wilson? So this kind of question may be asked. The gift of the Magi, who are the Magi? What is the definition of gift as projected in the gift of the Magi? Because these questions are maybe quite common, because you may face the exam during Christmas period. So you may ask this kind of question regarding the gift of the Magi. I personally think H.E. Bates's The Ox does not have much scope for interview question. But from interview perspective, who is most important for me is Charles Lamb. A very vague question you may be asked that who is your favorite essayist and why is he your favorite essayist? And the trap most of the time we all fall into, we take the name of Charles Lamb, and numerous questions may be asked from Charles Lamb, from his pseudonym to his important thing, to his India connection. Charles Lamb's India connection, it's very quite common question. Now Charles Lamb's India connection means that one of Charles Lamb's brothers was holding an important position during the colonial period in the province of the Punjab, and Charles Lamb himself was a clerk at India House run by the East India Company. So Charles Lamb's personal life also, what is called the personal essay, what is the difference between the personal essay and the essays popularized by Bacon? What is the writing style of Charles Lamb? The autobiographical element of Charles Lamb. So all these kind of questions, numerous questions, you will find from the essay Charles Lamb. What is Lily? The title, Dream Children, justification of the title, numerous questions. So I think that you should read Charles Lamb's personal life, his contribution in literature, as well as Dream Children, its narrative style, its technique, its blending of humor and pathos, the way it mingles with the autobiographical element with fiction, that is the fusion of fact and fiction, the blending of humor and pathos, all these things you can expect. Grammatical portion, generally it is stipulated in asking some grammatical terms like what is cognitive object. So for grammatical terms, what you may expect is that you should go through any good grammar book, for example, the grammar book written by Michael Swan, and there you will find the grammatical terms. So the grammatical terms, it's quite common to ask. So read as many as grammatical terms as possible. With it, you should also include the the rhetorics. That is, for example, what is the difference between epigram and paradox? What is the difference between antithesis and epigram? So these are things which you should go through as much time as many times as possible. So in my opinion, the grammatical terms, which are quite many, you should go through at least 100 grammatical terms which are common, like what I say, cognitive object or these kind of things, and the rhetorics, you should go through it. Now, some general thing. I think that after you have passed the exam, when you are facing the viva, I think that the textual portion, it's you all know, but the way you will face the exam, we all know everything, but we cannot project ourselves. Now, the first thing I again say that you have that kind of self-confidence. You say when you are facing the exam, first thing first, when you are just entering into the hall, first don't sit until you are asked. We make a common blunder. We sit down even before being asked. Don't do that. When the editorial board will say that, when the examination board will say you to sit, only then you sit. It is not mandatory to wear a tie or blazer if you are not habituated. Because if you are not habituated in wearing a tie or blazer, it may cause discomfort. Don't do that. And when a question asked and you don't know the answer, simply say that I don't know. Don't try to make the examination board foolish by stating your answer in this way or that way, hiding the fact that you don't know. It is not possible to know everything. It is, to err is human. To not know, it is also human. So don't pretend to be all knowing. Just come say that no, we don't know. And even when your opinion is asked, yes, your opinion is asked, you say whether you agree with that or not. For example, I have been asked by some in an examination board that do you support sexual education in school curriculum? I say yes. And one of the member, he seems to disagree with me, but I stick to my point and I try to establish my point. So it is not mandatory that you should just be all fine. You just say all fine when you don't agree. You have the right to disagree. Stick to it in a very gentle way and establish your opinion also. Another thing, we generally often confuse is our pronunciation. Our pronunciation, even when I am just asking or saying something, it is a kind of Indianized pronunciation, and there is, I think there is nothing wrong in it. But be specially careful in our utterance of sh sound. There are that is the common mistake which most of us do in confusing sa, that is talabasho, and sha, that is dantosho. In most cases, we should never confuse it. Education, talabasho. Education, education, cation. Here, the two verbs, they are combined to make one, that is called a diphthong. And the sa sound is sa, talabasha, education, society, that is dantosho. So you should know the difference, and while even when you are giving a brilliant interview, there is a common syndrome. We often mistake, often confuse that to saw sound, which we should be careful. If you have some question you may ask, then I may come and I may answer. But up to this point, this is the thing which I say, that this is the basic framework which I have given. Now, best of luck. It's your turn to perform. Thank you.
স্যার ক্লাস শেষ হলো?